off with the story of the movie website that lost everything and the one man who had no choice but to help keep it all together. This is the Pupcast. Yay! But yeah, hey everybody, welcome to the Pupcast. I am Aaron as always, and I'm sick, so I don't know how long this episode's gonna be, and my voice is even deeper and gravelier than normal. So, I would like to welcome my two guests today, Callum and Kevin.
Hello!
Hi there.
Hey, Kevin, I thought you was dead. I haven't heard from you in a long time. It's good to have you back on the show, man.
I was just in the attic.
Someone forgot to charge Kevin.
He was getting
Great.
upgrades.
It's just me. It's not a werewolf. It's fine.
Yes. Kevin downloaded the new Apple Maps, and he's been lost for 3 weeks now. So.
No, it's just
Is somebody else being murdered in
Jobs.
your neighborhood, Aaron?
Oh, well, at all times, yes. You know what? I don't even recognize it anymore until you guys point it out. There used to be a point in which there also used to be a point in which I would go, hold on, wait, there's a siren outside, let's all stop. I've gotten so used to it now. It wasn't until you said, is someone else being murdered? And I thought you were talking to Kevin. I thought you were going to continue some kind of a joke that we had going, but yeah, it was like, holy shit. Yeah, that is me. Oh man, yeah. Sirens. Right, forgot about that.
It's
This is
sort of
what I've
funny
heard.
because on Mad Men right now, they've reached the point in the 60s where Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King have been assassinated. And, of course, the show takes place in Manhattan, New York. So there's sirens going off constantly. And now I'm just thinking, that's like every day for Aaron right now. Nothing's going to change for the next 40 years.
Life is like Mad Men for me because I'm smoking and drinking on a fairly regular basis. But yeah, plus I do have that sexy Don Draper voice going on right now. Or at least I think I do. It might be the NyQuil kicking in that makes me think that. But
I'm gonna let
Anyway,
that pass
yeah.
without comment.
what?
I'm gonna let that pass without comment. Let's move on.
Fair enough. But yeah, this is, as you guys could tell from the intro, this is our Arrested Development episode. Episode 30, actually. That doesn't coincide with Arrested Development.
We're still numbering
anyway.
these.
Yeah, I'm still numbering it. I don't care what Maz says. I'm numbering it.
And it's more the fact I've lost track than anything else.
Well, actually, now that we're on iTunes, it's a lot easier for me to keep track of it. Like, I finally went, okay, it's time for me that I actually have to start numbering these and remembering the order that they go in. And after that, yeah, it was fairly easy. But yeah, this is a smaller episode. As I mentioned on State of the Pupcast, we're not going to start doing smaller episodes because they are shorter, easier to manage. And also, we can more fine-tune the discussion towards the people who know exactly what the topic is. You know, we don't really have to worry about having someone on who's like, oh, I don't actually know anything about this. I just wanted to be on today. Well, oh well. So yeah, all three of us have now finished seeing Arrested Development Season 5. We're, of course, going to do hopeful thinking.
Yeah, no,
Hopeful
hopeful.
thinking.
Have you like traveled in
Fingers
the future or
crossed.
something?
Yeah, fingers crossed. You would not believe what happens to Job and Maybe in the Season 5. Oh, spoilers.
I want to see. I really want to see like Netflix's like bandwidth figures or whatever for Sunday, just to see how that happens.
I really want to see that too. Yeah, we are going to do our normal show like with the news and all that. But before I begin, seeing as how it's the Arrested Development episode, I just have to ask you guys, how fast did it take you guys to watch all of Season 5?
About a day and a half.
Day and a half. Callum.
I did 5 episodes on Sunday, and then 2 episodes before I went to bed yesterday, and then I did the final 8 today. It was more due to like other stuff happening than just be. If I would love to have just sat down and blazed through all of them in one go, but I mean, life and this thing called other family members wanting to use the PlayStation and.
Yeah, understandable. You're about to go off to college. You'll be able to have your own PlayStation there by yourself, I think. Probably.
Hopefully.
I don't actually know anything about your setup going on, but I go on Twitter and assume all of your lives from like 140 characters that I read at random intervals. But yeah, luckily I had the day off on Sunday, and yeah, I blazed through all of them in one day. I had to be up at 8 the next morning for work, and I was still at like 2:30 in the morning just sitting there going like, I can do this, I can squeeze them all in. I can get every single one of them done today. I did not make a huge mistake. That was the right choice. But yeah, so we will go into that later. But first off, what have you guys been up to? Like, what have you guys seen lately?
I could talk about Fast and Furious 6.
Did you like? You saw Fast and Furious 6? You can talk about that.
I saw it like before we recorded the last space episode and recorded a review, but in short term, I could just repeat again. So dumb, so dumb. No, sorry, hang on. So dumb.
Yes, there we go. Oh, so dumb, so dumb.
Yeah.
I one day want the
I was about to
podcast-
chastise you for your attempt at mocking a British accent, but you did not hear Mike attempting to do Jackson on the Xbox
No,
One
no.
podcast.
That is not my British accent. That is Jackson. Jackson, whenever he says "so dumb," just goes up like 8 octaves with
What?
his voice.
Why is it that like, everybody tries to imitate Jackson? It's done in that exact way.
Because that is like the thing that like whenever you do an impersonation of somebody, it's whatever just stands out so much. Like Bill Clinton does not always talk with his thumb just barely over his hand and pointing it towards everybody, but everyone who does a Bill Clinton impersonation just instantly pulls up that thumb. It's whatever is the most like, you know, how do you impersonate Jackson going and buying a quart of milk? You can't. How do you impersonate Jackson saying a movie is dumb? Everyone knows that. I one day want the Pupcast to be so famous that when Fast and the Furious 12 comes out, it will actually have the tag, "So Dumb, the Pupcast."
That's a dream. That is the dream, to get a review quote on a Fast and Furious poster.
Yeah, that sounds sweet.
From something that's
Kevin,
not a
what have
lads
you
mag.
seen? Kevin, what have you seen?
I have seen a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, how long has it been since you've been on? You've got a backlog of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks, I think. A couple episodes.
About 3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what have you got? What have you seen?
I started watching a new television series basically I signed up for the 1 month free account for Netflix, and I wanted to see how it worked and all that stuff, so I started watching the series Archer.
Oh,
Yes! Sploosh!
And Archer's awesome.
It's so good.
Yes! So good!
It fills this perfect little hole that was left when Harvey Birdman ended.
That's totally a fair comparison, yeah.
Yeah, it's this very clever and very like it's smart about how it does its irreverent comedy, not so like
Oh yeah.
how Family Guy does it, where at first it sort of had some sort of connection to characters and plot and all of that sort of thing. Now it's just here's this funny little gag we came up and had like 20 of them listed on a whiteboard. Like Archer's feels like it fits the characters and all the situations.
It feels natural, yeah, exactly. And that's a totally great comparison. When Family Guy suddenly just has Peter make a commentary about something in the pop culture world, even if it's not a cutaway thing, it's like him trying to make a commentary about something that's like, that doesn't fit your character at all. It is just something that particular writer wanted to get off his chest and just shoved it in there. Whereas with Archer, yeah, every single one of those characters, whenever they reference something or speak in some weird, like, I don't want to say non-natural way, but in some way that's too clever for normal people, it does not sound like it was done by a writer. It sounds like that character said it.
Yeah, and the one great thing I think Archer does really well is that the entire cast is really funny, and they all have their running gags and all that sort of thing, and it's really well done.
Yeah, exactly. How much of it have you seen?
I've seen the 3 seasons of it.
Oh, wow. Is Season 3 the one that begins with Archer as King of the Pirates, or the one
Yes.
that ends? Okay, that's the one that begins with him as King of the Pirates.
Yeah, the end of Season 3 is when they amazingly go into space
Yes.
with a brilliant acting job by Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston, yeah.
As the villain.
Yeah, it's... I had a little bit of a fear with Season 3 that they were starting to become too self-aware of their running jokes, but Season 4 seemed to fix that. So, I mean, they easily got back on their feet, and I can't wait to... Unfortunately, this is the problem that comes to me not watching television as much as I used to, because I mostly just watch whatever's on Netflix or Hulu, is that I didn't know that Season 4 was... I didn't know that Season 4 had started until it was like 2/3 of the way over with. So I can't wait for that one to get on Netflix and me see all of it. But yeah,
Yeah, I can't wait to see Season 4 as well.
Yeah, it's got a great finale to it. Yeah, and oh god, Archer is such a great character too.
He is. He's basically like I was reading or watching an interview with the voice actor, and he was describing Archer as basically that asshole that can't get fired.
That is perfect.
Yeah, and all the gags that they have with him are like really well done, and like I love his like constant love of Burt Reynolds, especially
Yeah.
when Burt Reynolds shows up.
Yes.
And I just love when he does like the Danger Zone references, and I just love it when he yells Lana's name.
That's the best.
It
Lana!
is probably my favorite running gag throughout the entire show. And Archer's like one of those like he's a complete asshole type of character, but all the other characters are constantly calling him out as an asshole.
Yeah.
And it sort of makes it worthwhile.
It totally makes it worthwhile, and also everybody else has their problems too. It's like there's no like perfect character on there. Lana's as close as you get, I guess.
Yeah, like his mother has drinking problems. Cyril has.
Well, that's the
sex
least of her
addiction.
issues.
Yeah, I love that, and also I think the fact that Archer's mom is there actually like helps us not hate Archer as much as anyone should hate that guy.
Yeah,
You left me
But you
alone
can
on
see it,
Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. There's a difference.
and one of my secret favorite characters is of course Cheryl and Carol, and
Yeah.
Barry and Other Barry.
I keep forgetting Other Barry.
What they do with Barry is amazing. Yeah.
Wait, Barry's the one with the mustache and was in the wheelchair for.
That's Gillette.
No, that's
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Gillette, also one of my favorite characters.
That,
Also-
that reveal at the end of Heart of Archness is just brilliant. Like at the end
Yeah.
of that mini arc, it just pulls back his hair, and then it's just very enough to make you linger.
Yeah, Barry's the other agent from Odin.
Oh,
Yeah.
He gets
Right.
turned into a cyborg.
totally forgot. Yeah,
Is this how to crash a
didn't
wedding,
forget about
Bionic
Rosa.
Barry? Yes, it is, Bionic Barry.
I love the end of season 3 where he's in the giant alien forklift mover thing.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
he's trying to tempt him, like, come on, don't you want to go robot versus robot? This would be great, man.
It'll be
Come on."
awesome!
No, Barry, I can't do that now. That was so. Oh man, we need to do an Archer episode too. As soon as like season 4 comes out on Netflix and we can all watch it again. That is actually right when season 5 starts. That'd be the perfect time to do it.
So I love Archer. I've seen about half of The Americans, which I
Oh,
found
how is that?
it's actually really good. I only found out that I had FX by accident. Like, there's this big gap where I can have, like, channels 1 to 50. Those are all in standard definition. And then there's just a giant wasteland of channels that are, like, not in the tier that I have for my cable subscription. I actually don't have a cable subscription. But for TV, it's, like, a big gap where I don't get most of the channels. Actually, I probably don't get 90% of the channels. But FX is one of them. And I didn't know that for about 2 years.
That's kind of how I am with TV shows. It's not until I find out that apparently like a TV show I like got a second season, and I was like, oh shoot, I stopped watching that channel years ago. Do I still have it? What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, but Americans I've only seen about 7 episodes of because they were doing a whole day marathon, and I couldn't watch the whole day and all the episodes. But really great show, like really interesting. Like I was reading about it, and apparently the show was created by an ex-CIA officer.
Really now? I didn't
Yeah.
know that part.
And apparently every single episode he writes, he has to go to the CIA for them to vet the entire episode.
That sounds about right, yeah.
So I've been watching The Americans. That's really good. I saw Gangster Squad, which
Oh.
is it's okay. I guess I'm not. I guess I sort of have a weird history with gangster movies. I guess I haven't really seen too many of them. So, but it's only okay.
Yeah, I've heard that most people range on that around the okay mark, or even less, but yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't look... I looked at that and went, oh, you know what, this could be promising, and then they moved it back from like the awards season, and they moved it to January, which is the dump season.
It was supposed to come out in September.
And then Aurora happened,
Aurora.
so we had to reshoot the ending.
Because the sequence originally was supposed to take place in a movie theater. And of course, Aurora happened.
Right.
And so they had to push it back, do reshoots, and that sequence now takes place in Chinatown.
I mean, it bombed anyway.
I think
it did okay.
It made even, I think.
Yeah, I think it evened out.
Yeah. So I saw that. I saw Promised Land, which is quite good until it's sort of, I don't know, its ending is sort of flat. But it's sort of one of those endings where if you do it one way or do it the other way, it's neither as good. I don't know. It's sort of a tricky act to pull. But I think it's still pretty good.
Huh.
I saw Jack Reacher, which I actually thought was pretty cool.
Cool. Yeah, everybody said it's a cool movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was cool.
Awesome.
So I saw that. I have more movies.
Oh, keep going, yeah.
I saw this old HBO movie called The Girl in the Cafe, it stars Bill Nye, who is one of my absolute favorite actors ever, and Kelly MacDonald, who voiced Merida in Brave, and she's on Boardwalk Empire.
She was also in Trainspotting.
Yes, and it was the last movie that David Yates did before moving on to Harry Potter.
Or the money train, as we like to call it.
And so The Girl in the Cafe basically tells a story of this government official who starts a relationship with a younger woman that he just meets in a cafe, and they go to Reykjavik, Iceland together for a G8 summit. But it's just this nice little sort of love story about two people that are like incredibly shy to one another and basically to a lot of people surrounding them.
Oh.
So it's a nice little story.
Cool.
And I saw the documentary Sound City.
What's that one on?
It was directed by Dave Grohl of Foo Fighters and
Oh,
Nirvana.
that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it's about the Sound City recording studio that launched like so many record-breaking albums and all that sort of thing. And it's a really nice documentary about people who actually love something very dearly and it means a lot to them, which isn't a lot of documentaries. Like, a lot of documentaries are this sort of different types of forces against one another, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Like, there's not so many, I guess I don't really watch as many documentaries that are, like, happy, I guess.
Yeah. It's hard to find those.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because they go through, like, the whole transition from, like, the analog recording to digital, like, for computers, especially in the 80s. And apparently Nirvana almost single-handedly saved the recording studio. So.
Cool.
So I saw that. I saw The Impossible, which I think is amazing.
What's that one?
That is the tsunami movie with
right.
McGregor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's really, really good. Especially, and it's really scary, too. Especially, like, the first half hour, like, just them going through, like, what happens with the tsunami. And the director is a Spanish filmmaker whose last movie was The Orphanage.
Ooh.
Which is a horror movie.
Yeah.
And
That's a great change.
His sort of directing sensibilities from moving from horror to this actually play really, really well for, like, the impact and, like, the terror that goes through, like, all the characters' minds for what's happening in the tsunami. And it seriously has one of the most disgusting leg injuries I've ever seen in a movie. Like, they only show it briefly, but it's, like, one of those things that just sticks in your mind, like, incredibly well. And the last movie I watched was Sucker Punch.
Okay. One of these things is not like the others.
Yeah, I don't know why I watched it.
I tried watching that thing with the sound off, and it was still the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. That's one of those movies that, like, demands that you use an obscenity when you describe it. It's that just terrible.
Fucking awful.
Yeah, exactly. It is. Whew.
Oh, let's
Get
hope
me
Man of
worked up
Steel's
thinking
better.
about that. Let me say this about Man of Steel. I've been all over the place with that one, and it's been recorded and put out there into the internet for everyone to hear it. After that first trailer, I was like, I don't have much hope, but there's enough there to give me some hope. And then after the second trailer, I was like, I now have hope, but there's enough there to make me diminish my hope. That movie, I hope it's either amazing or absolutely terrible, because if I come in anywhere between those two options, I know everybody's going to be able to look at what I've said in the past and go, well, you only think that because of this.
No, I think it's
So,
just
yeah.
fun to listen to Stockholm Syndrome for review. You just sit there like, yeah, but I really liked it, but I hated this bit, but it was going here, but it wasn't. I loved it, I hated it, but Killed with Fire, I praised it to death.
Did you watch the Man of Steel trailer made in Minecraft?
No.
It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
They made a, like, you know how Minecraft is all, like, blocky
Blocks,
shaped?
yeah.
Yeah.
Someone made a lens flare like that.
That's awesome.
And
Let's
that's all
see.
I've seen.
Awesome.
That's all I've rattled off.
Let's
Sorry.
see. I saw Star Trek Into Darkness, which we did a review for, and will be going up soon. It'll actually be going up before this goes up.
I saw that too.
Yeah, how'd you think of it?
I quite liked it. Like, first 90 minutes are really awesome, and then I sort of have problems with that last half.
Yeah.
Final stretch of that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun movie, and that's how I rate it. It is fun. Yes. I give it a high 3 stars in the review. It's positive, it's fun, but I don't think I'm going to see it again.
Did you see it in IMAX?
No, I tried to see it in IMAX, and I had never bought tickets for IMAX before, so I didn't know you have to get reserved seating on that thing. So I went in there, and the ticket I got was B6, and the way I looked at the chart, it was like, oh, that's going to be way in the back and a little bit in.
No,
That's
you
perfect
were
for IMAX.
right near the
I was
front of
right at the
screen.
bottom, looking up, and I was like, I can't exchange this now. And I was looking up, and I was like, yeah, it's IMAX. It's supposed to take up your entire view. I could only see like a quarter inch of it. It's like, I don't know why IMAX theaters have those seats in there. So yeah, I went back, exchanged, and just
To
saw it in
punish
regular
people
theater.
like you who don't deserve.
I guess. But yeah, so I learned my lesson, and I walked out there and got a ticket to a normal screen. It was still in 3D, but yeah, it wasn't in IMAX, which kind of ticks me off, because, yeah, that movie should be seen in IMAX.
Yeah, like, I bought my tickets a couple weeks before the movie came out, reserved my seats, so I got a center seat, and it looks amazing in IMAX.
Yeah. But let's see, I've also seen, and I also won't talk about this a whole lot, because as I mentioned on Stay of the Pupcast, we're now all doing whatever shows we want to do. Just kind of throw it out. This is Pupcast pilot season, what's going on right now. But me being a guy who loves terrible movies so much that's killing him slowly inside.
I call dibs on your cigar lighter thing.
The cigar, what do you call those? Jeez. The thing that cuts the cigar at the end. But yeah, anyway. You can call dibs on my humidor, which is a plastic pencil case box. So, I'm the poorest fancy man alive. I want that on my tombstone. Anyway, I've delayed this long enough. Since I am a guy who loves to watch bad movies and laugh at them, I'm going to try doing a show called Bad Movie Brews, which I've realized recently can be taken 2 ways. Michelle thought I was... Michelle thought that I meant, like, you're actually beaten up, like, bruised. I meant bruised as in, like, brewskis, like,
Oh, I thought you said Bruce.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any
Bruce. Bad Movie Bruce. Oh, if only I had used a fake name when making this show. I could have gone with Bruce and it worked. Oh well, whatever. But no, Brews as in, like, it's in honor of those movies that are great to get some buddies together and grab a couple of beers and sit and
Like
watch.
Strange Brew.
That's a
Yeah,
shame. I was looking
exactly.
forward to Bruce Forsyth making a sudden appearance.
Every single week I have my own soundtrack of, like, random people named Bruce on. That's for our other show. These are the Bruces I know. So, but
How do you feel
no,
about Rooskies?
Brewskis. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's supposed to be. Bad movie brew, as in like brewskis, like a beer. But yeah, the first movie I'm going to do for it is something that I found on Netflix. And the moment that I saw the description, I was like, oh, I gotta watch this. And then it turned out to be even greater than I thought it was. Shatma. which, for anybody who still follows Screen, yeah, I recommended to Final Dasa, you have to watch this because you're now doing your own little bad movie review thing. This you have to watch. And he didn't enjoy it at all. I was laughing my ass off of this thing. Shakma is a movie about a bunch of grad students who are LARPers, who decide to lock themselves inside the science lab to play a big LARPing game. And little do they know, a crazed, drug-induced baboon has been let free and is hunting them each down to kill them. Yeah, it is... Callan had the right reaction. This movie is hilarious, and it does not disappoint in the movie that you're thinking in your mind. It's better than that. It is hilarious.
Does it take itself completely seriously?
Because, like, the baboon, it doesn't act. And, like, you know, when you see a baboon, like, running after somebody, trust me, if you were in the jungle and a baboon was running after you, yeah, you'd be scared. But this baboon doesn't act. They didn't put, like, foam on its mouth. It's not CGI or anything. Occasionally, in, like, one scene, you have a puppet head of it. And, yeah, that looks, like, creepy. But the rest of the time, you're like, oh, monkey chasing the guy. Yay, monkey! Except, I don't know what they did, but, like, the entire middle portion of this movie, everyone is dead by the second act, except for 3 people. One of whom doesn't even know that the baboon has been released yet. He still thinks he's playing the game. So, the middle part, like, the middle 30 minutes of this movie is just nothing but one guy going over to the door and going, I'll distract him. He goes into the door, and then the baboon goes up against the door and goes, no pun intended, ape shit, just trying to break the door down. And it's not a puppet, it's not special effects. They actually had a baboon going mental on this set, just ramming its head into the door, and that is for half an hour. Just him running from one door to the next. Baboon goes up to it. And then at the end of the movie, I've never done this before because I always just assumed it, but I actually sat there and watched to see if it said no animals were harmed during the making of this. And it says, we would like to thank this gentleman from the Humane Society for supervising this whole film. And that was it. It did not say no animals weren't harmed in this. And I was like, oh, you little ass. How much did you pay that Humane Society guy? Because, yeah,
that pride was hurt.
That was the only thing.
It was an intern.
Ape was an intern. Here's your coffee.
Oh, Jackson had a job as a Humane Society guy.
Oh, you mean the intern was... Oh, the Humane Society guy was an intern. I thought you meant the baboon was an intern. So he can get damaged all he wants. Who cares? But no, this movie is hilarious. Michelle actually had the best joke in the night, because at the top of this giant building is a woman dressed as a princess. And at one point, Michelle leaned over and just had me cracking up. She said, please tell me the monkey gets to her first, and the rest of the movie is it throwing barrels at everyone else down below. I was like, oh, this movie's so good. But yeah, so I'll go into like a scene-by-scene breakdown of that in Bad Movie Brews. But
I look forward to listening.
Hopefully, yes.
Sounds a lot like that Knights of Badass movie, which I don't know what's ever.
That's never coming out, is it?
I have no.
That's a shame. It's got so many people in it I like, and I hope it's good, but it's never going to come out at this rate, is it?
It's the Summer Glau curse.
I've been hearing about that for the longest time. Yeah, we still have no knowledge of when that's coming out. But
before we move on, because I just realised that seeing you were able to talk about TV shows, can I just offer 2 very quick mid-series reports on TV shows that debuted a couple of weeks back as like speed things. I was going to say these for Maz's podcast, but seeing as an idea when that's happening, I think let's do it now. Is that alright?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll assume your science is yes. Okay, first off, Defiance, the sci-fi TV show that is, also a video game and a cross thing. I started watching it. It's the newsroom of sci-fi shows. As in, the pilot episode offered extreme amounts of promise and was very entertaining, and everything afterwards has pretty much just been one giant long shit sandwich of why the hell am I still watching this program? But whereas, the newsroom occasionally did things occasionally had scenes in individual episodes and that showed, that showed promise, and also has, a ton of people in there who I really like, and thusly could stomach watching the rest of the show for. Defiance has just been a huge slog of, it has no idea what it wants to be, but it also has, it just has this terrible sense of direction, and then abysmal writing, episodes that have, that feel like they've had entire scenes missing, characters that don't behave consistently, some atrocious guest star acting. The episode I just watched, which was episode 5, which involved like a hostage situation, a heist thing in the desert, which had so many stupid twists and turns that made no fucking sense at all, was just utterly abysmal from start to finish there. And I'm just kind of wondering why I'm still watching it. Like, because I really, really enjoyed the pilot. The pilot showed promise, and everything afterwards has just been this slog of unentertaining garbage, which I'm still watching because, hey, the first season's only 12 episodes, right? So it can't sink that much further. But as every week has gone on, I'm keep thinking, oh no, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Like, at least with the newsroom, when it's bad, it's still, like, entertaining to watch. In that kind of, oh, it's bad, but I can see it making fun. Defiance is just boring, for the most part, except for the last episode, which I watched, which was an utter slog. It's the kind of show which can have a pirate radio station in-universe and play it completely straight, and then also soundtrack the end of its episodes to terrible goth music. Well, the second episode ended with an abysmal folk cover of Nirvana's Come As You Are. The fifth one ended with an Everybody Dance Now montage to The Cure's Love Song. It's that kind of show. It's not fun. And I'm not sure why I'm still watching it. And then the other one, just quick, is Teen Titans Go, which is...
Oh, yeah!
Yes, which debuted a few weeks back and is now up to... Is like episode 5 or something? I'm not sure.
I saw, like I mentioned with Archer, I keep forgetting that shows are on now. But yeah, I watched the first episode of it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's up to at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's enjoyable. I mean, it's definitely not, the original Teen Titans, but it's not trying to be. It's just trying to be a silly gag-a-minute show, which, for the most part, it's pretty damn good at. I mean, it's got a strong art style, though its animation is pretty terrible. But it's gags work. The voice acting sells a lot of lines that shouldn't be funny, and yeah, it's just good disposable fun, like it's aiming to be. I mean, if it's not trying to be the original Teen Titans, which is kind of good because we already have the original Teen Titans, and I wouldn't want them to try and piss over that legacy or anything. But for being a silly little, animated show with a lot of very funny gags, and also a second part of episode 1 that inadvertently turns its entire main cast into cannibals, it's good fun.
Yeah, it goes a little too far for me to fully enjoy it, but I mean, I still, in the one episode I watched, I still got, legitimate laughs out of it. I mean, when you have Raven playing with My Little Ponies, when nobody's looking, I'm like, alright, I can't lie, that's kind of cute.
Yeah, and with Tara Strong doing it all and everything.
And the Cyborg and Beast Boy friendship will always, that will always make me crack up in what form it comes.
Yeah.
But yeah. And just saying Cyborg and Beast Boy friendship makes me miss the old DC comics. Anyway.
Do you want to start talking about Stephanie Brown again, Alan?
I should really just have my own comic book podcast. That should be a new thing that I try and pitch. Except
we are in pilot season.
We are in pilot season.
Although you might go insane from doing it, so it might be best not to.
I don't know. I've ever since I started actually working at a comic book store, I have discovered something. There are a lot of amazing books out there, and I don't have to read the shitty ones. So yeah. Which, to anybody out there in the comic book world who's going, man, there are no good books out there. I don't know why I'm still buying 6 things a week. Stop doing that. Just stop. There are good things.
Go work at a comic book store and you'll find out.
What was that?
Go work at a comic book store and you'll find out that there are such good things.
Yeah, exactly. I found out this stuff. But yeah, every single day I have somebody come up to me and it's like, man, Avengers is up to issue 12 now and it's still bad. Hope it gets better soon. It's like, stop. Just stop. Stop. Here's a copy of Morning Glories. Check it out. You will enjoy it. So, that's my comic book plug of the week. Anyway, enough about my other interests that are not related to movies. Let's go into the news.
All right.
I was going to say, do we have news?
I have a couple news stories.
Okay, good, because I had some stuff, but it was all comic book related, and I can't go into that after that segue I just made. So,
I think the most notable thing that came out of the news this week was that Dan Harmon and Chris McKenna are both in talks to return to Community.
Hell yes! I did not think that was real at first, but it turns out it is, yeah.
Well, it's sort of a lot of confusion going on right now. Apparently, this originally came from a Twitter account from someone who was at Dan Harmon's podcast. And
He announced it on his podcast, and then he went, "Oh shit, I should not have said that," and they deleted it from the podcast before it went out in the air. And then after it went out in the air without it in there, he went, fuck it, yeah, okay, I'm gonna say it anyways.
yeah, and apparently now it's more like trade publications are picking up the news story because Chris McKenna, who also worked on the show and left at the same time Dan Harmon did, he's in talks to come back as well. And it was just confirmed like a couple hours ago that the two producers that are working on the show now, who did the 4th season, are out of the show now.
Okay. The fact that Chevy Chase is gone, it's like that was the one thing. It's like the old guys running NBC were like, well, Chevy Chase knows what comedy is. Who's this Dan Harmon guy? We're not going to take Dan Harmon over Chevy Chase. And then they were like, you know what, Chevy's kind of an asshole, and he doesn't want to even be in the TV shows even now after we fired Dan Harmon. Like, he wanted to get off the show even with Dan Harmon gone. So yeah, they're like, screw it. Bring back the guy who had the fan following.
And from the sounds of things, that it also will be the final season of Community, and it'll be 13 episodes or so.
I'm totally cool with that. I mean, Jeff graduates from the... Joel McHale. Yeah, screw it. Joel McHale graduates. Thank you.
Joel McWinger.
Joel McQueen graduates from Greendale at the end of season 4. So it's like, well, okay, it's begun. Now the end has begun. And yeah, the TV show should not go on past that point. And hopefully, I don't know their episode count, but I'm hoping that with this they'll hit that magic number 100. Because that isn't as important as it used to be, but it does still mean something these days.
I think it does a Chuck thing where I put it at something like 96 or something, which is still close enough to get to syndication anyway, I believe.
Yeah.
My one question, as somebody who being a UK viewer is only halfway through season 3 on legal services, I have a friend who has been watching season 4 like online and states that they completely and utterly fucked up Jeff's graduation. Is this true?
What happens is that the final episode of season 3 is that Jeff has a he has a daydream where the evil versions of them from the evil universe come through with paintballs to fight them, which is basically just them going, well, we couldn't think of something original. It was
fan service the episode.
It was fan service the episode, yeah. And then at the end of it, as Jeff is about to graduate, Pierce comes in and goes, well, I'm graduating first. And they go, okay. And that's the end of the scene. And it was basically just, that was Chevy Chase's exit from the show. Yeah, it is not good. Like,
it's more the actual moment of, like, Jeff graduating. Did they fuck that up? That's the thing I'm most interested in here.
It's fine. Like, the actual moment like I said, at the actual moment when he's about to graduate, he's up there, like, about to receive the diploma, Pierce comes right on and says, well, I'm graduating first. And they go, okay, Pierce. And it's like, yeah, they take total focus off of Jeff on that moment. But yeah, it's on an earlier episode, I said, listen, guys, I've got an unpopular opinion to confess. I still really like Community. I still think this season, it's not as good as the previous ones, but I still like what they're doing. It's still giving me a similar taste to the previous seasons, and I'm enjoying it. I said that about halfway through the season. It started tanking right after I said that.
It's like it was waiting for that specific second for you to tempt fate, and then decided, okay,
it's like Dan Harmon left a whole bunch of scripts just laying around they forgot to pick up, and they ran out of them right as I said that. But yeah, so I'm hoping that Dan can come back and totally redeem it. Which, I mean, there's still hope. It's not like they totally crash and burn the whole thing. But yeah. So yeah, I look forward to that.
Speaking of Dan Harmon's cameo in Arrested Development, that was the thing.
Dan Harmon must finish the fight.
Yes. Alright, so what else have we got?
They're rebooting Time Cop with no JCVD.
I thought Time Cop was a video game. Jeez, I don't even know this one.
Yeah, I've never seen Time Cop though, but it seems to be like one of those cult movies that either people really like or people really like it because it's bad.
Yeah, they like it because it's bad. It's a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, but yeah, I seriously for the longest time thought that Time Cop was a video game franchise.
Oh, I thought it was like a comic book.
I have no clue. This one's too shitty for even me to know about.
It just gave me an excuse to say JCVD.
Nice. Alright, what else have you got?
Francis Ford Coppola is apparently writing a new film or films that deals with Italian Americans through the 30s and 60s, which is sort of like described as another American saga.
That sounds interesting.
So I'm not sure whether that, like, of course he did The Godfather. It's kind of a big deal in modern cinema,
especially
history.
when talking about a theme like this for this movie.
Yeah, and I guess like Francis Ford Coppola has sort of been off the map for quite a long time.
Yeah,
like he did those smaller independent films, but like I'm not even sure if that Twixt movie ever came out. That movie where Val Kilmer's like a mystery writer or something, and Elle Fanning's like some weird spirit.
Yeah, honestly, I was trying to remember what was the last thing he did.
Like he did, I think it's like Love and Youth, and then he did some black and white movie called Tetro, which I've never seen either. But yeah, like Francis Ford Coppola, maybe he's been sitting on this sort of storyline for a long time. I don't know.
Entirely possible. A lot of directors end up doing that. They have like one project that was what they were waiting to come around.
Yeah, but then there's been a ton of novelists who've done like one big franchise before and like big series. They go off to do something else, and then they go back to that sort of idea and like sort of setting, and then they do a completely different story. So hopefully that is what Francis Ford Coppola is doing. But Francis Ford Coppola doing movies again sounds interesting.
Yeah. All right, so what do we have next?
We have more Bond 24 rumors, and this will be our last story.
Okay.
And apparently, I just read a news story just on Twitter saying that Sam Mendes is back in talks for the next one. Which is weird because he initially turned down the role, or not the role, but the chance to direct the next movie because he wanted to go back and do more theater. So it sounds like those negotiations are back up, but they also announced like a short list of possible replacements. And here's the list. Nicholas Winding Refn, which I'm not too sure about.
I have no idea how it would
I'm
work.
not sure.
I'd be very interested to see how it would.
Like, I don't think he knows what a PG-13 rating is. And when he was at the Cannes Film Festival with his new movie with Ryan Gosling, and he described
driving around, killing people for the mob with sepia tone colors over it, and on mainstream music playing in the background. Yes.
And he was doing an interview, and he said that doing like a big Hollywood movie was very much akin to prostitution. So I don't think he would even personally want to do a Bond movie. Maybe he does. Maybe he has a soft spot for Bond, and he'd be interested in doing it, but yeah.
I'm not a fan of those folks who come out and go, man, all of these are shit, except for that one thing I like, and I could get away with doing that because I like that one specific thing.
Yeah, and so there's more. There's Tom Hooper.
No!
Come on! Wait, what?
I don't know, he could be interesting.
So,
Bond.
is it...
Right, yeah, King's Speech guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and Les Mis.
And Les Mis, yeah.
yeah. Sorry, Alan, just quick. Is it true that in America they've now just given up and have just started advertising like the identity of Benedict Cumberbatch's villain in Star Trek in the actual adverts?
No, they do not. They do not advertise that, but like everyone knew before going in. Like,
No, I knew that, but I thought I've read somewhere that apparently that's a thing they're doing now. Like, they're not even trying anymore.
I haven't seen any for like them saying that, but then again, I don't watch that much non-Netflix TV, so
Good call.
So Tom Hooper, David Yates.
One money train to another.
Shut up, Callum. Shane Black, which would be not a good. Shane Black has such a distinctive writing style, it
He
doesn't go
does.
with Bond.
I know he's one of my. I love that writing style, but you're right. I have to tell myself that does not fit this thing.
It's very American writing,
Yes.
which is not what Bond really represents, especially after that last movie.
I don't know about you, but I'd like to see Bond, enter a movie wearing a cowboy hat and eating a cheeseburger.
I'd like to see Bond suit up in the Iron Man costume and then.
I would like Bond to celebrate Christmas.
Yeah. Next one on Christmas Eve.
Seriously, what is up with that?
I don't know, his favorite holiday is obviously Halloween.
Maybe his mother left him at Christmas Eve, left him alone on Christmas Eve.
Eve, Christmas Eve.
I'm so glad you got that reference, otherwise I would have been extremely awkward.
Nice.
And then there's also Eve Moneypenny
Segway!
from Skyfall. And the last person they was on the short list was Ang Lee.
I would be intrigued by that as well.
Yeah, he apparently he dropped out of this pilot for FX he was going to be doing due to exhaustion, which understandable because Life of Pi took a long time to make.
I can imagine several months near the end of just crunch time on the CG effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the short list of ones, but I guess I would like other directors to do it. I would be interested in seeing Thomas Alfredson do it. He directed
Tinker Tailor.
Tinker Tailor, Soldier Spy, and Let the Right One In. And I would be actually, I think my main choice right now would be Joe Wright to direct a Bond movie.
I'd just like to see Joe Wright direct something that's not a costume drama again, because, in case you want to remind me, Hannah was fucking amazing.
Hannah was great, and I
yeah,
hope
and that does actually match kind of the tone that most of the Bond films are going with at this moment.
Yeah, and he's really talented action director from Hannah.
Yeah.
And he does sort of big visual styling sort of projects as well as character dramas as well. So he's my personal choice to direct another Bond film, whether it be this one or one in the future. Yeah. That's all the news I have.
All right, awesome. Did you guys talk about on the space episode John Carpenter wanting to do a Dead Space movie?
No, but now I mean... Oh, wait, hang on. This is John Carpenter of 2013, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to just put that news story out there real quick, just to say, don't do that. No.
Yeah.
You mean
Sorry, I
Ghosts
got
of
excited for a
Mars,
second there, 'cause
John?
I got excited there for a second. Oh, John Carpenter for Thing is doing a Dead Space member. Oh, hang on. John Carpenter of... What was that Devil film he did in 2011 or something? My Soul
The
to
Devil
Take.
Inside. My Soul
No,
to
no,
Take, yeah.
My Soul to Take, yeah. And then I got all sad.
Yeah, I, unlike many horror fans, think that guy is very much overrated. I mean, I love the hell out of the thing. It's a fantastic film. But yeah, I think that he, as a director in general, when you look at his work overall, is very overrated.
And very
Although,
past
if he
it
took on a
nowadays.
new Bond film... no.
Ghosts of Mars.
Ghost of Mars. No, wait. Moon Rover 2.
Isaac Clarke is played by Jason Statham.
Because Jason Statham will play everybody nowadays.
I'm kind of ticked that they gave Isaac Clarke a voice, just simply because I was like, he kind of looks like Jude Law. I think Jude Law could pull off that character. It's like, oh, he's a grizzled white American guy. All right.
Like every other game ever.
Yeah. If only we had a movie about space marines and they were grizzled. Anyway, so yeah, that is it for segment 1, and we are going to come back and talk about Arrested Development Season 4.
No
You guys
touching.
wanna You guys want to just...
No
keep
hugging.
going? What? And we're back. All right. Before we begin, as I said, this is all about Arrested Development on this season. Sorry, on this episode. Before we begin, when did you guys really get into Arrested Development?
probably during the season premiere of the second season. That was the very first episode I saw, and I basically fell in love with it instantly.
Oh, wow. Because most people I know, it took a while, and I think that's one of the reasons it had such a problem. But yeah, it's great to hear that you fell in love with it just instantly.
Yeah, once Tobias had painted himself blue, going out to the audition for the Blue Man Group, and he went out during dusk, and then he got ran over by Harry Winkler. I just basically said, I have to watch this all the time.
Let's take me to the hospital.
Yeah, I started at the beginning and started watching, but with me it did take a little while to build up. But yeah, I mentioned this on a previous show that it is one of those shows that it takes a while to build up with folks. In fact, I had friends in college when it was on who were like, man, I don't get why people think that show is so good. And I had to just sit them down and show them episode after episode. And after 3 episodes, they were going, no, we're not stopping this. We are continuing. We're going to watch this entire season right now. Because it really is kind of to me, like a comedic soap opera, almost. Complete with twins and backstabbing and all of that thing. And oh my gosh, this person is not your sister after all. It is totally a soap opera, in which I feel like the best way to enjoy it is to suddenly get every single one of these storylines going and realize all the twists that are happening back and forth.
I like being somebody in Britain who was also, too young when it first happened, but also the fact that it passed pretty much ignored completely in Britain thanks to it being an American sitcom, and we don't do well with American sitcoms here. I started watching it, I think I watched the first 2 episodes online in 2009, and I remember mildly enjoying it. And then a digital channel picked it up and reran the whole thing in double bills every week. Once a week in 2010, and it was at that point I started watching again, and I think I've gotten to that point where I could just fall in love with it immediately. It was just so funny, and then since I've watched the whole series, it run throughs at least 4 times after that first initial run on TV. Yep. I just bought the DVDs that Christmas and just put it on a console. It is just probably the funniest sitcom I've ever watched, and so clever.
Quite possibly, yeah. It's quite possibly one of the best sitcoms out there.
Yeah.
And, man, I was so looking forward to them coming back, but I gotta say, even if they didn't come back, even if there was no talk of a movie, the way that they ended Season 3, I was like, that is one of the best ways that you could end this show.
Yeah.
It is Michael finally gets away, everybody gets what they finally deserve, and Anyong comes back out of nowhere.
Yes.
To go oh, I've been here the whole time. You're all busted.
I just adore the stupid, over-the-top, ridiculousness of that Season 3 finale, which just had me practically, screaming at the top of my lungs by the time An Young turned up. It's just, it does feel like they just shoved every idea into that finale and hope it stuck, and it worked.
This is one of the only shows where you can... only comedies that will make you stand up and cheer. When I was watching Season 4 on Netflix, there was a moment during the Maybe storyline in which I just was pacing back and forth in my living room with my hands up going, yes, do it, yes! And not cheering on the character, I was cheering on the writers. I was literally just going, keep doing what you're doing, this is perfect.
Mm-hmm. Kevin, you want to say something?
Yeah.
I was.
No, it sounded like you weren't, man. I cut you off because I have the nerve to try and talk. So I was just wondering, were you trying to say something?
Well, now I don't care.
Oh,
never mind.
But yeah,
thanks, Callum.
I'd tell everybody what the plot of this is, but like I said, it is so much like a soap opera, in which it's okay, this person's sleeping with that person, but this person is actually with that person, and then this person double-crossed that person. So,
Hermano.
It's pretty much about wealthy, terrible, stupid people doing stupid, terrible things.
Yeah, it is about the Bluth family, and the protagonist is Michael Bluth, who is the middle son of George Bluth, George Senior Bluth, who, what was the company that he ran exactly?
Bluth Housing
Bluth
Company.
Housing, yeah, exactly. I couldn't remember if it was housing or construction. But they are a family that has done all kinds of illegal deeds. The parents and the company itself has done all kinds of illegal deeds. And all their children are just spoiled rotten, except for Michael. Michael actually kind of, wants to... he wants to get out. He's the guy who actually went out there, got a real career, had a family. But there's
he is the decent one.
he is the decent one.
He
He's
was the decent one.
He's not flawless, though. He is a guy who you realize, as the series goes along, he does so many things to his own son that his dad did to him, and he doesn't really realize it.
Especially that one moment in like George Michael's first episode
on season 5.
4. Just
Oh,
about one moment where you just like you.
That's so painful.
Yes.
That is painful, the moment you're talking about. But yeah, let's go down the list. There's George Sr., who runs the thing, played by...
Jeffrey Tambor.
Jeffrey Tambor, thank you. Then there is Lucille Bluth, the mother, who is...
Jessica Walter.
We were talking about Archer recently. It's the mom from Archer, and I mean that literally.
Yeah.
It is basically when they created the character for Archer's mom, they said, we want someone like Lucille Bluth. And so the actress who played Lucille Bluth auditioned and got the role. And it is the same character.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Which is, it's great. George Sr. is kind of a forgetful. He is corrupt. He is the one doing all these back-end deals. But he's almost just like, no, you don't understand. See, it's all fine for me to do this because of this. No, that's...
They can't
You're going
arrest
to
a
jail
husband and wife for the same crime.
I have the worst fucking attorneys.
We have the best fucking attorney!
Then the oldest brother is Joe Bluth, spelled Gob.
George Oscar Bluth.
Which I actually saw the best, promo for this recently. It had a picture of Joe Bluth on his Segway riding around, and it says, Joe pronounces it, and then it's spelled out G-I-F, GIF. But I thought that was the best bit of promo, because it's like, his name is spelled Gob, but it's pronounced GIF, and then, yeah. Anyway. But yeah, so he is an illusionist, a magician, who is the most cocky, pompous asshole, he and Lindsay, who is the twin sister to Michael, who you later on find out is not actually a twin sister to him, they are the most self-centered people in the entire show, and that's saying something with Lucille there. Joe does nothing but screw his way into trouble, and then screw his way out of trouble, and Lindsay is one of those rich people who's like, no, I'm a humanitarian, I'm going to fight for the environment. Wait, I actually have to go to dirty places? Ew, no. She's basically that kind of character. And she is married to Tobias Funke, who is played by David Cross, and
Who was the world's first therapist and, analyst or something?
Yeah.
So it's
exactly.
world's first
Analyst.
analyst.
Yeah, exactly. He was actually a very skilled therapist, and then in the first episode, he decides, you know what, I'm going to stop all that and be an actor, and he is a terrible actor.
Oh yeah, because
But
he
he's
applied
no,
finally to a man who wasn't dying.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going, no. That is all behind me being a therapist. That was a lie. I'm an actor now, and that is it. All of his ability to be a therapist is gone. It is just him being the world's worst and yet pompous actor ever. Their daughter is Maybe Funke, who... She is also one of the better characters. She's one of the more redeemable characters, except that her fatal flaw is that she is constantly trying to get her parents to notice her, which, in her defense, they would not notice her if she was on fire unless she started burning the drapes down. So...
No, not the Jake, just Lindsay's hair, and even then it would just be more like maybe, God, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, the moments where they try to care about Maybe are hilarious. In fact, they even, forget her name at points.
One of my favourite scenes of, season 4 is just a bit where, Lindsay and Tobias are buying a house, and then it just pulls out to just show that Maybe's actually been there the whole time, and it's just busy writing down costs on the wall at the back of the room.
Oh, no, what makes that scene great is that he asks her, do you have children? And Lindsay assumes that the real estate agent is hitting on her in front of her husband, so she goes, no, why? And then he goes, no, we do have a daughter. Her name is... Oh, it'll come to me. And then, 5 minutes later, it's revealed she was standing behind them the whole time. That is the kind of relationship they have. Then, let's see, there is the youngest brother, who is Buster Bluth, who... There's something wrong with him. He spent an extra month in the womb, and there were claw marks on the inside because and that's an actual line from the show.
He has mother
because
issues.
He has got a freakish, it's psycho-esque, if you want to put it that way. His relationship with his mother.
Oh God, that section! It's in episode 14.
In fact, this season they actually flat out, no, it's like Psycho.
That was fucking brilliant!
Yep. And then there is Michael's son, George Michael, played by Michael Cera, who is Michael Cera. And let's see, is there anyone I'm forgetting?
Well, if you want to go into the giant-ass cast of characters, there's also
There's
Egg.
a giant, this show is like The Simpsons, because they have a supporting character for whatever situation they happen to get into, and it's great. The only one that really keeps coming up on every episode is
Barry
Barry
Zuckerberg.
Barry Zuckerberg, their attorney.
Played by Henry Winkler.
Played by Henry Winkler, who is not just insanely incompetent and gives them bad advice, like a husband and wife can't be arrested for the same crime. If you ever break a law, take to the sea, because they can't arrest you in international waters.
He's also a closeted homosexual, a possible paedophile, a giant sex pest.
Oh, he's a definite pedophile. They totally there's no question about it in this one.
But he but he couldn't reach the knob, even on his tippy toes.
That was great. I love that running gag throughout this season. But there's a great joke in this season where, he knows nothing about the law, but then maybe comes up to him at one point and goes, how old can somebody be in high school before it's illegal? And he goes, okay, this is one thing I definitely know. But yeah, so that's the basic cast of it. And yeah, it's one of those things which you have to watch and get all the running gags that keep coming up. It's so great. Before we go into season 4, does anybody have any favorite moments or favorite characters from the show before season 4 began?
Egg.
Oh,
sorry, Anne, sorry. Who?
Okay, I swear to you, this was not planned, this was not a joke. There is, at one point, Michael gets a girlfriend who is, and she's the person who played Evil X Roxy in
Roxy from Scott Pilgrim and Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. Which, congratulations to their wardrobe department, because she is actually a very attractive woman, and they do make her look like the most frumpy, unattractive person alive.
Plain.
But the running gag is that no one ever notices she's there, and everybody forgets who she is. So my apologies for forgetting her right now. But
just the constant reveals, all the time. It could just it would just notice that Anne's been stood there the entire time.
yeah.
Or as Tobias just walks in and takes that comb from her from her hand as if she wasn't using it, and then she just keeps standing behind him whilst he's talking to Job.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's Anne. Let's see. Anybody? What are some other favorite moments or favorite characters?
That's why you always leave a note. God,
just say your favorite characters and moments.
Sorry, the name escapes me. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, you mean the guy who kept showing up with the one arm?
Yeah, J. Walter Weatherman.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it just makes it simple, my favourite episodes from the original series run are Making a Stand, which, it's a really funny episode to begin with, and then just, its third act kicks in with its it's just, it's double-cross him, and a double-cross them, and more, this guy's been playing them, but no, this guy's been playing it, that, for some reason, I just love to death, that bit. And then also the one from Season 2, where it hits the third act, and then everybody's trying to get married at the same time, or something, which...
Oh, yeah.
But essentially, I pretty much just love episodes where they take, tons of barely connected plots, and then just wrap them tie them together in the perfect way in the third act. It just means that it comes to a non-stop set of conclusions, which are hysterical. A non-stop
That's something that the show
laugh
did
barrage.
incredibly well.
Yeah.
It's if you were a fan of Seinfeld, whenever they did, these guys do it on the next level.
Yeah. And then they just take minor things and then push them out there. When Buster loses his hand in Season 2, you don't notice it beforehand, but before the actual event occurs, they keep referencing hands all the time long before he actually gets it chopped off.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Or the returning of musical cues of things like Mr. F. When there's not even a point. And I also have a soft spot for SOBs for its 100% committance to parodying the sort of rating stunt parodies of shows that are about to get cancelled.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Plus, it introduces Donnie and his quintuplet twins, which Donnie Victor they are always Andy Victor, sorry, and they are. Oh god, they're the source of some of the best moments of Season 4.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, you got any?
I always had a soft spot for that Hermano subplot.
Yes.
That was good.
Yeah, there's just too many to really think about off the top of my
There
head.
are, and that is a show where every single episode merges with the other ones so well. It's hard to pick out like specific episodes.
Yeah. I was marathoning all the previous 3 seasons before this new season, and I don't really like the Rita storyline at all.
Oh,
Really? Charlie's Theron one,
right, yeah.
yeah.
I was not a fan of
Wee
that,
Britain.
actually.
I find it funny, if nothing else, because it meant we got the ridiculous finale of the one with like the kaiju parody, and also because like the reveal that Mr. F stands for mentally retarded female is one that I genuinely didn't see coming, and
I didn't see
also
that coming either.
yeah, and also the one at the end of her arc with the on the next Arrested Development with the walking on water bit. That one gag alone pretty much just redeems that entire any problems out of that arc. It's worth it just that bit where it goes where she walked across the water. Michael goes to Joey goes, "Is that one of your tricks?" No. On the next Arrested Development, it was an illusion. And then he just sets. And then he sets Tobias' hair on fire.
That's one of the other best running gags on the show, in my opinion, is that Job's magic theme song is the final
countdown.
Yeah, this is a show that knows how to do running gags, like the picture of the baseball player sliding in anytime they want.
Head first, like Pete Rose.
Yeah, like head first, like Pete Rose. Oh man. Okay, yeah. So let's go into season 4. Callum, I know your thoughts on Kevin. How'd you feel about this one?
Okay, so I'm in the minority. I'm not sure I like the season.
Really now?
How come?
Yeah, like
I'm willing to have a civilized discussion about this.
At best, I think it's only okay.
Really?
No.
Oh.
Care to
Well,
expand?
what's your problems with it?
I guess my biggest issue is the format of it. Like, I think a lot of it is like it's not traditional what they were like writing all the episodes as, like all their structure from going from like one storyline to the next. Like a lot of it is done probably because like they couldn't get the cast all together.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
A
it's
lot of
pretty much
scenes.
just because of that.
Yeah, and I think it's admirable that they want to strive for something different from their storytelling, but I don't think it works for this show. Well, it's not necessarily what I liked. Like, so much of what I love about the original series is that they always had these crisscrossing stories and multiple characters together, and then it would all reach this, like, fever pitch, and then where all the storylines would converge. And I think a lot of that is diminished in this new format, with having just, like, one character all by themselves for one episode, which also... So another one of my problems is that, like, I love all the characters, but I don't want to watch an entire episode just about them.
I can agree with you because, like, Tobias is such an awkward guy that he's funny to have there, but when you have a whole episode dedicated to him trying to get this absolutely terrible play made, it's like there does come a point in which you go, this is so terrible, it's kind of uncomfortable to watch.
On the other hand, we got a straight 36-minute episode of Job, which was probably the funniest episode of the season.
Yeah, and also, like, of course, when they were originally doing the show on Fox, they had to keep the episodes to, like, 22 minutes each. And I'm all for, like, this whole Netflix idea of giving writers, like, unlimited amount of time to do an episode. I just think Arrested Development, pretty much 90% of the episodes go on for way too long. And I think there's just too much padding. It just feels too... It drags on way too long. Like, there's no reason why there should be one episode that's 39 minutes long at all. All the episodes should have been between 25 to 30 minutes long.
Yeah, I kind of agree, but like in a different sense. Like initially, I did feel it was slightly a bit bloated in a way, but then I kind of came around to it. My one issue for pacing is the fact that a lot of episodes didn't really like climax. They kind of just stopped. Like there was especially an episode late on. I can't remember which one it was. I think it's either 12 or 13. Where like it literally just stopped. I thought there was more to come, but the episode just literally just then went on the next Arrested Development. I was like, wait, that's it? You've still got more to tell here, and it kind of just didn't do anything, and it just like grinded to a halt for no reason. it's like it's not much problem like in terms of bloat. It's more just the fact that episodes are kind of weirdly paced because they don't really have a lot of stopping, like a natural conclusion. They mostly just kind of stop.
Yeah.
And also, there's
Another
one more
thing is
specific
that-
problem which we'll get to when we talk about the finale in general. Because there's one specific problem I have about finale, but we'll go on anyway.
I've really enjoyed. In fact, I don't know how much of a shared opinion this is, but this may be my favorite season of the series. I mean, I understand your complaints, but to me, it kind of did with. To me, this is a show that needs to be like, what's the word for it when you watch them all at once? When you
Binge watching them.
binge, yeah, you need to just watch them all at once. And I feel like they were trying to make it specifically with that in mind because with
Well, no, because they said, and even the Mitch Hurwitz came out and said, "I hope people don't watch this all at once," which I find incredibly insane because the plot is so needlessly complex and confusing that if you watch one episode a week, I would feel completely lost.
Yeah, I have no idea how this sort of
supposed to
works on
watch
its
this
own.
one ad. You're not supposed to watch this. Yeah, the thing that I was applying for was I thought that they were trying to go for you should watch all these at once because me as somebody who watched it all at once, it felt like you were mentioning about how you love how they had those crisscrossing like storylines and like how it would all build to like climaxes. This to me,
And these new episodes just took too long to get to that point and just became so complex and confusing that once they did reach that point, I kind of didn't care at that point.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, like once each time they reached Cinco de Cuatro, I literally just didn't care because I couldn't remember everything that was going on.
oh,
It just feels too. It felt needlessly complex. Like I didn't want this. Like I basically knew nothing going into this season. Like I avoid all the clips and interviews and
Good call.
the trailer. So I was basically going in cold. I had no idea how to watch this show, except basically going in order. Which also the order where they show the episodes, not very good at all. Like how dare they make you wait 7 episodes to get one that's about Job? Sorry, I was about to say Gob.
Well, one of my favourite guys is just Siri, still pronouncing it as Gob anyway.
yeah. Yeah, Siri pronouncing it as God. That was a great joke.
Yeah, and also I had a terrible time understanding the passage of time, like timeline of which one character this is happening because it picks up immediately after Lucille steals the Queen Mary and subsequently crashes it.
But I'd
And
like
then
to. My
each
favourite bit there is the fact that she pretty much just stopped it because she wanted to go have to go get the last crack at Lucille too.
Yeah.
That's just so perfect an excuse for stop because it fits so well with her just uselessly bitchy character.
Yeah, but like this timeline from going from there to whatever present it is just felt so confusing that I really like. This also has to go in with like how my expectations weren't maybe right for what I was expecting, and so I didn't really know. Okay, so this is happening then and then and then because in the original series it was fine because they always had like set amounts of climaxes, like a couple episodes would lead up to this and this and this and this, but you have 15 episodes leading up to one single event. Just seems again too confusing.
Well, my one issue is the fact that it purports to take place over 5 year, like to fill a 5-year gap. But my only issue is that it's kind of difficult to tell exactly where you are like year wise. I mean, like it towards the end, like it became clear in terms of seeing like scenes stitched together in other episodes, which became one of my favorite features. Like I think it's about episode 15, about that point where you see Job's rant about like his hypothetical rant about having sex with another male man, which takes on a whole different, which like was cut entirely from episode 1. That sort of like editing reveal is very well. But my only issue is that in terms of like the narrative scale is that way that it's kind of hard to tell exactly how much time has passed because I thought it was meant to be 5 years, but all I ever see is like there's a 1 year, possibly 6 or so months difference.
And it became really frustrating, especially during like the Job storyline where he was taking a Forget Me Now every single night to forget, and then it just went on forever, and I just got to the point where I have no idea when this is supposed to be happening at all. and just it really took me out of the series and really suffered my enjoyment of it.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, but I can understand it. Yeah, I totally can understand it. Because, yeah, there were times in which I was confused on when specific things were happening as well. Yeah, I mean, that is totally understandable. But, I mean...
Like, this isn't a murder mystery at all. Like, this is a comedy.
Except when it is.
Like, I can admire them for wanting to do something complex and not dumb it down, but I think they just went a little bit too far for me.
I think it worked.
I really thoroughly enjoyed this. I mean, to me, we were mentioning about how the crisscrossing and everything would lead up to one thing. I love that there were basically like 3 events throughout this storyline. And yeah, you get the flashbacks of what everybody's been doing, but then you have like 3 specific events that happen where all these stories are crisscrossing. And I love being able to see each of them from different points. And yeah, as Cal mentioned about the Job making the hypothetical argument about having sex with a man. When I was watching that in the first episode, I was like, oh man, these guys totally lost their ability to write stuff. Like, I mean, this is a terrible Job insult that they're throwing out there. And then, slowly, as you realize why he's making that argument, which, by the way, I've never been so happy to see Ben Stiller in my life than when he popped back up in this series.
I'm here. I'm queer. Now I'm over here.
Yeah, or like, you would hear, like, the vulture screams, and I was like, that didn't sound like a vulture, what was that? And then, yeah, I would totally forget, and then when you see Maybe was standing there. I didn't have that much of a problem following the pattern, but there were times when, like, especially during Job's episode. Job was the episode where I was like, okay, when was he part of the entourage? I don't remember.
I think that's kind of the point. Because even Job can't remember when that happened. I think that's kind of, like, the point, because he's addicted to his forget-me-nows.
Well, it's more of the fact that you have to remember that this is showing, like, these 3 events happening here in the modern day. And that's where everything's intersecting. But then before that, there's that 5-year gap. And I feel like what they were trying to say is that the him with the entourage was during that 5-year gap. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I mean, as I mentioned, just the levels that it was going to, like seeing, the whole relationship between Lindsay and Herman Cain, which they have Terry Crews on to play Herman Cain. And
that's a guy with a great sense of humor.
And he totally nails it, too. I love that. Like, because as soon as Terry Crews shows up, I was like, man, this guy is known for normally being kind of, like, loud and happy and upbeat and, yeah, like, energetic, and also a big muscular dude. How's he gonna play on a show like Arrested Development? And he nails Herman Cain down to, like, his mannerisms, too. Like, he was totally in that character. I loved it. But, like, seeing Lindsay going on dates with him over and over again, and then him just kind of, like, blowing her up. And then it gets revealed that in Maybe's episode that she has been prostituting her own mother out without her knowing. It just made me, like, that was the moment where I wanted to kind of applaud, like, how they crafted and how they set up some of these things. To me, it was a series of great, like, punchlines with multiple setups, but I love what they did with the whole idea of it streaming. Yeah, you can't watch this 1 week after another. That's a crazy idea.
No, it's pretty much impossible.
Why you would have said that. Yeah, it is impossible to watch this
I think he's only saying that, like, 'cause if you binge it from beginning to end, he's worried that you'll kind of just, like, get tired of laughing, whereas if you take occasional little breaks, then you get to, then, like, running gags can become funny again, but I have no idea what he's talking about, because, again, I just blazed through 8 episodes in a row today, and I was still laughing hysterically loudly at every single bit.
As I said, I did all of them in one day, and I mean, like, towards the end, I was, like I said, when it got to Maybe's episode, I stood up and was, like, walking around the apartment with my fist held in the air, like, yeah! Like, I've never done that for a sports team in my life, but I'm doing it for Maybe right now, all the people. And I also love...
Or Buster going in for a home run.
Or I love that, characters did continue to grow that, the horrible characters are still horrible, but I love that in the first episode, Michael is now totally his dad, almost. I mean, yeah, he slowly starts to redeem himself more throughout the episode, but to me, Maybe was always the one who I was like, she could get away. If she would just stop worrying about her parents, she could get away. And seeing that in my mind, seeing how far she's fallen out of everyone, I was just drawing great pleasure from that. In not even like a Schadenfreude way, but in like the way that they did it. I mean, the idea that Maybe is so determined to get her parents to notice her that she stayed in high school for years.
5 years.
Yeah, the fact that Maybe was the one who was like, you know what, she has actually got a future. She is working at this film company. She could totally do something with her life. But that one flaw that she has, that flaw that she cannot stop caring about what her parents think of her, made her stay in high school for 5 years.
Just became a thing
so
she
they
did.
might worry about her. That was great, and then she ends up... and then she is so...
having sex with what she
this...
thought was an undercover cop, but turned out to just be a member for Bullying League, who was actually 17, despite her initially thinking that he was...
Exactly, and I think there's something to me kind of poetic about that she is always the person who has to show someone up. So she finds this guy, Perfecto, who she's like, oh, that guy is an undercover cop. Well, I'll show him up, and I'll use him, because you don't really... Because that was the other thing about Maybe. Maybe would use people for whatever purposes she wanted. And yeah, the fact that she's like, aha, I'm going to now use this guy Perfecto, because he's an undercover cop, and I know that. And then it totally finally comes back on her. And it's like,
the best slap bells when it turned out
fake...
Then it's Donnie. Donnie, the algebra teacher, is the undercover cop. I started clapping at that. Like, just... Like,
yeah,
exactly. Go, you magnificent bastards.
That twist I loved, and yeah, when it was like, out of all the people who finally get what they have coming to them, it's Mabel who kind of like fell the furthest.
Mabel?
Because, yeah, maybe, sorry. Gravity Falls on the brain.
Yeah, sorry, I was just imagining like Mabel's turning up in Arrested Development now. That would not end well, especially considering in fact this season is pretty much just a giant long kick for dog to the Bluth family, because this is like just 15 episodes of watching everybody sink to their absolute lowest possible point, but it still remains funny, like enough to continue to laugh at instead of just going, oh, this is kind of sad now. Like,
yeah,
it
I
never stops
absolutely
being
love
funny.
that moment where it's like Michael Cera is the one. George Michael is like the one guy who I was always like, you know what, he's probably got the least amount of Bluth in him, but when it gets to that moment where he has to lie to his dad on his phone, it just goes. And so, suddenly, the Bluth part of his brain was finally awoken, and he discovered he had an amazing ability to lie.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it is complete. It has happened now.
That felt like
yeah.
the extended voice phone message gag there is pretty much the kind of thing that this like the extended runtime would allow. Because if it was on network, that thing would have been cut down to like a 10-second zoom gag. But the extended Netflix time allowed that to run so long that it could go from being funny to kind of okay, it's going along now, to wrapping back round to being hilarious again because of how long and convoluted it's gone on for.
Yeah. But yeah, I fully understand the complaints of, the time. It is hard to keep up with that. I understand all that. And yeah, there are some episodes that go on too long. Like in Job's episode, how long the what was I going to say? The trick they was trying to set up with the Jesus escape, how long the setup for that was too long for me. But I mean, I thought the way that everything.
I love that. Of all the episodes that came through, that is the one I would put straight. Like that first Job episode is the one I would put up there. Like Colony Collapse, I believe it is called, is an episode I would put up there, right up there, Making a Stand. It's probably one of my favourite episodes of the whole run. Like the entire time through, it was fun. It also contains the single best gag of the entire season for me, which is the reveal of Steve Holt.
Oh, the reveal of Steve Holt?
Yeah,
wow,
which is
I did not see that coming.
Yeah, when because it works perfectly because I don't keep up with how he looks. Apparently, they put some age makeup on him anyway, and all he's done is actually, in time, he's just found out. But it's like, first to note is that Job starts talking to this guy, and he's pouring his heart out, and they seem to be sharing a connection thing. Where then Job reveals that he was coming here to see Steve Holt in order to get money from him, and then the guy's talking to, no way, I have a brother. And then it dawns on you that he's been talking to Steve Holt the entire time. The exact same time it dawns on Job that he's been doing. That is masterful work. That is one of the best gags I have seen in possibly any TV. It's such a brilliant usage of playing an audience against itself there.
Yeah, I still feel...
Except if you already know that was Steve Holt.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I did...
From the beginning of the scene. Which I did.
From the what scene?
From the beginning of that scene, I already knew that was Steve Holt because I
exactly that takes the joy out of that scene.
You party pooper.
Oh, don't you start! I didn't invite the mean people onto this episode for a reason.
Yeah, that episode has copious amounts of reveals, which, in addition to the fact that it means I get to see Alan Tudyk and Mae Whitman being, good stuff, it's also like I just love the reveals in general, and also when Job gets put into vault and just stands there and goes, he's not coming back, that's the perfect moment for a character, and then it goes on, in the second Job episode to push that character to even greater heights of fantasticness, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
I like it when they're in the house and Job just says, "Marry me," and she says, "Yes."
I love when
I do really love whenever Job was contemplating the Sound of Silence at start.
Oh, perfect.
As we mentioned, Arrested Development is a show that knows how to do a running gag, and
music
the
cues.
Sound of Silence was the best running gag in this one. And when it comes back around to have the Mongolian there,
hello, darkness, my old friend.
Also, I love that when you speak of the things that dust the audience, I love that they are making the joke about how racist Lindsay is because nobody there knew that the Mongolian, that the Mexican community who they thought they were offending and rioting there were actually Mongolians. I love the fact that, let's be honest, the audience did not know that either.
Yeah, we didn't know anything until it was revealed in episode 15.
Yeah, exactly. Throughout this entire time, it's like, haha, you guys actually thought these were Mexicans. Ha, you're racist. Total, turnaround on the audience for that.
The best thing I think about this season is that it's its own thing while still being Arrested Development. It tries new stuff, but it's still recognisably the show you fell in love with. It's got enough callbacks and jokes to be Arrested Development without being too fan-servicey, whilst also trying enough new things and enough of its own running gags that it creates there to, the repeated references to Altitude magazine and that sort of thing. They remains being, its own thing and not just a giant 6 or so hour parade of, oh hey, remember this gag, that was fun. But one of those I did not like is just the sudden appearance of An Yong, which I felt just smacked too much of pandering and wasting of a good potential there. Suddenly throwing it out there and be on the next and then just, although it was worth it for Ron Howard just going, goodbye An Yong.
I don't know, maybe it was just that I was just so in love with this, but it's anytime someone would show up. When Gene Parmesan showed up, I acted just like Lucille.
Yeah.
It's Gene!
I should
not do that with a cold, jeez.
Yeah. But also just the way they pushes it that further, then Michael go, well, yeah, I hired him. But, so why are you reacting like that? Oh, because I thought it was him, and then it cuts to a black guy.
Oh my god, I love it. But yeah, it's something that I don't think that anybody who hasn't seen Arrested Development can really enjoy it. Definitely not at all. To the same level.
Not at all.
But I think that, Callum, you summed it up perfectly when you said that the thing about this season that makes it so different from any other season is that this is a puzzle piece. I mean, yeah, on previous seasons, they would have little puzzle pieces that would lead up to, the end of the episode, or, to the end of a 3-episode set, or, maybe, a season would go by and then you get one tiny puzzle piece from way at the beginning of the season, but you still had most of the complete picture. This one, yeah, that's why there is no way you can not just binge watch this. It is entirely a puzzle piece, and you can't just... And you're figuring out the puzzle piece without actually having seen the thing. So...
My one issue, my one slight issue, is the way that it kind of is the whole thing just stops. It doesn't really have an ending. It has that bit where George Michael just punches Michael in the face at the end of the final episode, which is a brilliant emotional moment there. And also just the awkward way it just lingers. You expect a giant fold out, so it just lingers of just both staring at each other. But then it just smash cuts to credits. I was kind of wait, that's it? Because the whole thing felt like it was building to a big thing, and then it just kind of stopped.
Yeah, that ending to me made me say, you can't do a movie. You cannot go from this into a movie. You have to go into Season 5. Because I actually think that is a really good season finale ending.
Yeah.
That can't be the ending, and now we have the movie that explains everything. No,
there's
that
too
has
many
to be
loose
the
threads
season finale, because, the way it lingers there, that's kind of what you're meant to do until the next season. You're supposed to go, oh man, can't wait to see what happens next season.
Yeah.
Which, for anybody else...
Oh, and also Buster's now being accused of murder.
Buster's now being... Yeah, let's rev up where we are at the end of this. George Bluth is now a cross-dresser who has a hormone problem, which, did they ever reveal what was causing that?
I believe it's just him getting old.
Entirely possible, yeah. But yeah, I was looking forward to finding out more about what caused that.
Yeah, he's now a cross-dresser who
George Bluth is now a cross-dresser. Michael Bluth is going to probably get involved in the murder case that goes on because Lucille, too, was murdered. Michael has been punched by his son because they were both sleeping with the same woman, who is Ron Howard's daughter. And Joe Bluth may or may not have also slept with Tony Wonder.
No, has slept with Tony Wonder.
Oh, it definitely did happen?
Yeah.
Oh.
But did you know that's a bit there? We've narrated note that Anne, of course, the first ever Christian straight to gay.
Oh, I missed that part.
Yeah. Or recreating Tony Wonder's favourite trick. Now everybody's gay.
Oh, yeah. I have to watch this season again because, like, the entire time I was watching this, like, there are jokes I'm missing because there's just one on top of the other, and I have not said that since like the best days of The Simpsons, in my opinion. But especially with all the little like written jokes, I love that they were like, no, this is going to be playing on a system where people can stop and pause. We're going to make little written jokes everywhere. But yeah, so Job has now slept with Tony Wonder. Lindsay is running for president.
As the head of the Republican Party.
The head of the Republican Party. Jeez, there's... And
George Michael's bullshitting.
And maybe is going to prison for pedophilia.
George Michael is also, but still bullshitting himself as a head of a social, like, privacy software company.
That wasn't resolved either. That needs to be resolved as well. Lucille
is, I believe she's running away to Mexico with Oscar.
Yeah. By the way, I need a spin-off with P-Dog.
Yes.
I love P-Dog.
Yes. And, I believe Tobias is about to... Oh, yeah, and Tobias was on the boat with the bomb.
Tobias blew himself
with
again.
with the guy with face blindness, which, by the way, is a joke that never stopped being funny. Like, it should have stopped. It should have stopped. Like, the best comparison I can think of it is, like, the blind jokes with Toph in Avatar, which are the kind of things which should have stopped being funny, but they keep finding new ways to keep making it funny every single time they do it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, so I am not looking forward to an Arrested Development movie. I want season 5.
By the way, I know, Alan, I know you were, like, on the State of the Podcast going about the guy who they got to play,
I had to look that up myself, yeah.
It's actually Max Winkler, which is Henry Winkler's son, which explains everything.
Yeah, because I was going, where do they find a guy to do the perfect Henry Winkler impersonation? Oh, it's his son. Got it.
Yeah. Shall we all have like a quick conversation about the cameos then? Because there were a ton of them all over the place here. But like initially, I found them all like whilst pretty much everybody did a fantastic job. I would accept Seth Rogen here, except for the fact that he wasn't really given anything to do with young George Bluth.
He wasn't.
So it feels bad to put him off here. But like everybody does a fantastic job. But initially, I thought there were too many of them. There was too many of them in too small space of time. Like it would be one moment, like here's Marilyn Reichkopf as a character who's not allowed to talk. Here's Dan Harmon as a desk clerk. Here's Kristen Wiig doing a both very accurate and very distracting like imitation of Lucille Bluth and here's the entire cast of Workaholics as people who work at an airport. That's all.
I kind of enjoy that just simply because I'm a big fan of like those like laugh-ins and like those old kind of variety shows where they would get everyone from a TV show to come on and do like one skit. But I know that's not Arrested Development. It is. It can be distracting.
Yeah. And here's Isla Fisher as Ron Howard's daughter, Rebel Ally, who was named after where she was conceived, just like Bryce Dallas Howard.
Honestly, I didn't find them that much that distracting, but it's because I didn't know as many of these people. Like when you say, "Here's Meredith Lynn Breichkopf," whatever her name is someone who came.
Chloe O'Brien from 24.
I don't know who that is. I don't. When you say that, here's this person as Rebel Ally, I don't know who that is. Here's Dan Harmon. I don't know what Dan Harmon looks like. Wow. It's like, there were tons, but aside from Ed Helms, John Krasinski, and the cast of Workaholics, I was like, I don't know any of these people. I'm assuming that they're celebrities. Sure.
You're making me feel sad for spending this long on the internet, Alan. For knowing all these people.
I don't have enough time to watch all these shows, man. I don't watch TV. I said earlier on.
Well, initially I thought, but then it got to a point where I just rolled with it, because pretty much everybody they brought in was doing a pitch perfect job anyway, so...
Yeah.
Except Ed Helms' cameo, not necessarily a cameo, because he was in the original show as well.
Oh, yeah,
was
what
he?
was he? I thought he was...
He was the realtor.
Oh!
He was the same character.
They bring everything back around, don't they?
Oh, that is Arrested Development in a nutshell.
I really loved John Slattery's character.
Oh,
As the
The doctor
The
that George
doctor.
went to.
the adopted
With his
what?
thinking cap on.
doctor.
Oh, right.
Yeah, with his thinking cap on.
Yes. What? Who gave you an idea like that? That sounds like something I'd say with my thinking cap on.
Yeah. Or when Joel and the bot showed up. Not once, but twice.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like, and to me, a lot of those cameos was kind of like I said, it was kind of like all of Hollywood showing up to go, this is a great show. And I was like, I know Hollywood, it is a great show. I love Arrested Development. But yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed this season. I
Yeah.
can understand the problems with the timing. I agree
Yeah.
with you, that is there. But yeah,
There was going into this, there was always the niggling thought in the back of my mind that this would be a terrible comeback. Like it would be
yeah.
post second cancellation Family Guy. Like it would be something that comes back and it's take a giant prolonged shit over the legacy of the show in general. But no, the best I say is that Beavis and Butthead did it. They took it and they just basically came back pretty much almost as good, if not better, than they were before, and just ran with it for the whole season.
yeah.
I mean, initially there was like a slight adjustment for about the first 5 minutes of episode 1, which probably has something to do with the fact that the Cinco
That you
de...
know nothing.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
also the fact
That
that
opening
it
scene
starts
kinda
you
came out
off
of
at
nowhere.
Michael's lowest in the first episode, and it starts you off with seeing everybody going, why would they be acting like this? This is terrible. This is totally out of character. But like I said, it's one big puzzle piece that you have not seen the box to. And yeah, this whole season is just you one by one going, oh, it's a sailboat over there. It's slowly you just piecing this whole puzzle piece together.
Yeah. And then the tumbleweed gag occurred, and then Pete died, and the season just took off.
Yeah.
Right. Oh god, there was another gag at some point, very early on. I can't remember what it was, which just had me not literally rolling about, but just it was that point I knew yeah, this is Arrested Development's back, and I'm loving every second of this. That's one of the later gags is the sex offenders map. When George Michael buys the house in Southern Valley, everybody come. Like, how old are you? 21. He's 21. He only looks 16. And everybody's just.
And,
And
yeah,
then a kid turns up at a party and everybody runs back, gets out the air.
yeah, and like I said about the whole puzzle piece thing, the first time you see that party and you have no knowledge of what it is, I thought that it was the people working at the fake block company with him. I thought they were throwing a party and they were all kissing up to him.
Yes.
And then when you find out, no, it's a bunch of pedophiles who are just attracted to this guy and living in the same neighborhood he's now been forced to move into.
So brilliant! Oh, God.
Yeah, exactly. This is totally. I've never seen a show do what it did in this one season.
I need
loved
more.
it.
I need more now. They cannot stop. I don't care that other people have careers and schedules and that. Everybody needs to get together and they need to film that 5th season now because they cannot just leave it after this. They can't just do this 4th season and then say, well, we tried, that's a lot. You need to give a 5th season now because it would be cruel to cut this reunion off now. It would just be the absolute worst to cut it off right now because it's so good.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see what they do, and I love that at the end of the original series, they ended it by saying, no, I don't think that should be a TV show. Maybe a movie. And at the end of this one, he's ripping up all the contracts. The theme of this season was leading up to the Arrested Development movie, and then at the end he goes, you know what, we're not doing the movie. Maybe a TV show. And I was like, please let that be your hint. Please let that be your, wink to the audience and go, we're not doing the movie, we're doing a TV show.
Yeah. But they just have maybe come and go well, movies are a dying medium. Maybe TV.
Yeah.
And then just have Michael there just really?
Yeah,
so good.
My only, big, problem is that there is product placement for Netflix in here, and I'm like, why? The only way you can watch this is with Netflix.
Where?
Oh, George Michael at one point is talking about a movie. He says, oh yeah, I subscribe to Netflix entirely just for that. And then there's like one guy who has a Netflix coffee cup just sitting on his desk, like in full view of the camera. Yeah, there's like little bits of it. Yeah,
the only time they came out of that was I think in the George Michael episode where the narrator just goes, "Now before you rewind so much you end up in the middle of the maybe episode, we'll just show you that clip."
Oh, that wasn't product placement. That was the thing that I loved about this, is that they, like I said, I did not know they made that statement about, oh yeah, we want people to wait and watch each episode. I was like, I did not know about that statement. I thought, oh, this is brilliant. They made this specifically for the binge watchers. And so, to me, that joke was just them going, we know what format we're on. Which, that's the first time I've ever heard of anyone, like, admitting to, like, yeah, we know how the internet works. We know how Netflix works.
Did you,
but yeah, so any other final thoughts on this?
Did you notice in the, like, when they cut back to the Spanish place, that, on one of the TVs, Mitch Hurwitz's Sit Down, Shut Up was playing on the TV there.
Yeah, I noticed
like, as a background gag. I just thought that was kind of fun.
I enjoyed it. And also, speaking of where each character is at this moment, what did everyone think of the reveal that George Michael might have an illegitimate son in Spain?
Oh, that is like just a brilliant piece of dark, horrible humour that works.
Yeah.
Also, I really like that, like, the constant air quotes Google product placement, but instead of actually doing anything Google, they just pathetically blurred out all of it and then just said something. And also the Fantastic Four costumes, where they printed the four as like terribly.
They printed the four as blurred, yeah. And I love all the constant, like, you know, a bum is sleeping on Tobias's Thing costumes. Like,
speaking
who are you
of
supposed
that,
to be? Who are you supposed to be?
Speaking of
oh,
that
I'm the
bum.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that bum, the internet pointed out, that bum, Josh Trank, who has been tapped to direct the upcoming Fantastic Four movie.
Really?
Apparently it was. Like, I was reading AV Club comments of the review, which incidentally Todd Vanderwerf gave it a B, so the comments are pretty much a giant flame war right now. But, like, one just pointed out that was Josh Trank there sleeping on, like, as the actual bum was sleeping on Tobias, and apparently he's tapped to direct Fantastic Four. I was like, oh, that joke is even funnier now.
Oh, that is perfect.
Yes.
But yeah, okay, well, I've got to get going. So anybody have any final thoughts they want to throw in about this? No? Alright.
Same.
Safe.
You're out of the movie!
I will end this episode the same way I end every episode. Except this time I'll record me saying, I've made a huge mistake.